and welcome to another Fullscript webinar. Thank you for joining us. Today we have a presentation from Standard Process and MediHerb featuring David Hogsed, and Sara LeBrun-Blashka is also here with us too. Before we get started, a couple housekeeping items. I want to remind everyone, let everyone know that this is being recorded, so you will have access to the recording via your email after the event. As well, all of our Fullscript webinars live on our website at fullscript.com/webinars, so you'll be able to access it there at any time. As well, if there's any additional resources we can provide, they would be in the email or on the landing page as well. So as I said, we are very excited to have David and Sara here with us. We've been joined by Sara before, and as well as Standard Process and MediHerb. But Sara is a nutritionist with a master's in nutrition education at American University and a Bachelor of Science in Dietetics and Food Science. I know I probably butchered that pronunciation, so my apologies. And she's also the Director of Education at Standard Process. David is going to give you a little more information, but he has a full-time practice in Fort Myers, Florida, and specializes in providing effective nutritional support. He has been a clinical consultant and speaker for Standard Process since 2003, and is a postgraduate teacher and speaker with colleges like the Texas Chiropractic College, Northwestern Chiropractic College, Florida Chiropractic Association, and of course, the Standard Process Fundamentals Program. So we are very excited to have these amazing presenters here today. You're going to hear from David first, and then towards the end, we'll have a live Q&A with Sara. So if you have questions throughout the presentation, add them to the question section on your dashboard, your GoToWebinar control panel, and we will be able to get to them live at the end of the presentation. All right, so everyone, thank you for attending and enjoy.
Be one of the most practical topics for your practice.
There we go.
Hi everybody, Dave Hogsed here. Thank you so much for joining us for what I believe is going to be one of the most practical topics for your practice right now, and that is simplifying immune system support. I believe we have access to the best quality food and herbal supplements to support the immune system, but as you know, the advantage and the challenge with Standard Process and MediHerb is we have so many immune supporting supplements to choose from, it can seem overwhelming. And I've been using Standard Process supplements for 20 years. I feel very old saying that, but 20 years now in practice. And what I've learned is that we can always get better and more efficient at simplifying these supplements. And the better you know the food ingredients in these formulas, you're gonna find you can make this much more simple, and it doesn't have to seem nearly as overwhelming as it might be to you right now. So when we talk about simplifying immune system support, we've got a lot of nutrients that we have to keep in mind when we're supporting the immune system, and a lot of nutrients that we have gaps in the modern American diet, things that we don't get enough of, and things that are depleted like zinc and calcium from eating too much refined sugar and carbohydrate. So there's no getting around the fact that most of us today, no matter how good we try to make our diet, we've got gaps that we need to supplement. The challenge that we always try to improve on is getting to as few supplements as possible that provide the broadest spectrum nutrient profile to provide complete, effective immune system support. And again, when you look at this list, it's not easy. This isn't even a complete list of all of our options from Standard Process and MediHerb. We have so many different excellent immune products to choose from. But I guarantee you by the end of the session, even though this looks like a lot of different products, you're gonna find, especially on the Standard Process side, the food side that we're gonna focus on today, you're gonna find overlapping foods that you have multiple choices with any of these supplements to use. Overlapping foods in our vitamin C products, our zinc supplements, our calcium supplements. And again, the common refrain is the better you know the food ingredients in these formulas, the more simple you can make it. So we're gonna start with the most famous of all immune supporting nutrients, vitamin C. And I wanted to start here because this is just one of the best examples of where Standard Process is so unique in the food ingredients they're using in their formulas. So as you can see from this picture, basically any of your good fresh fruits and vegetables are, going to have some decent vitamin C content. That's a big challenge in the US. We're not even getting close to our benchmark goals of daily fresh fruit and vegetable servings. So that's one big challenge. But the reason I really wanted to highlight how unique these formulas are is the very unique foods that Royal Lee chose, not just as vitamin C sources. You know, he could have definitely just made fruits and vegetable extracts for his formulas, but he went beyond that. Not just foods with vitamin C, but foods that amplified or were synergistic to use with vitamin C for immune system support. So we've got a lot of vitamin C supplements to choose from, but again, this is all about simplification today. And when you talk about the core 3 foods in all of our vitamin C options, this is it right here. And you're going to see this is not on the average American's plate that they're eating in their diet. Adrenal, buckwheat in mushroom extracts. So whether it's Cataplex C, Cataplex ACP, Drenamin, Congaplex, any of those famous vitamin C formulas, they're all going to have their unique individual benefits, and we'll go over some of those. But when it's all said and done, these are the 3 core foods that overlap in every one of our vitamin C supplements. So my mentor, Dr. Michael Dobbins, that many of you have had the privilege of hearing either in-person seminars or his recordings, he had a phrase that really helped me so much build my confidence in using Standard Process because of all of these different formulas we have to choose from. He said, when you're trying to choose between similar formulas, great example of these vitamin C supplements that we have so many options from, he said, you can never be wrong, you can only be more right. So as long as you've got a formula that's got these 3 key vitamin C foundations and synergists with vitamin C, adrenal, buckwheat, and mushroom, you can't be wrong. You may just be more right with your patient. So what's the rationale behind adrenal in the vitamin C supplements? Your adrenal glands store more vitamin C than any other tissue in the body. So when you get a concentrated source of adrenal in supplement, you're getting one of the best food sources of vitamin C. Now, again, he wasn't just after foods with vitamin C, he was after foods that were synergistic with vitamin C. So buckwheat is one of the richest, if not the richest food source of rutin bioflavonoids. And the bioflavonoids are a very synergistic piece of the vitamin C complex, especially for capillary strengthening, but other immune system benefits, helping the body regulate a good inflammation response. We could do a whole webinar just on the benefits and immune benefits of buckwheat. But here's something else interesting. Long before mushrooms were well researched like they are today, he knew the immune benefits of adding mushrooms into these formulas. And again, the research on mushrooms for immune modulation is just hard to keep up with because there's more and more coming out all the time. So let's look at some of our key options to get these 3 superfoods in one formula. Here's the one that started it all. Cataplex C, 1934. And another thing that you're going to see on the next slide, that Royal Lee was so far ahead of his time, he was adding Echinacea to his formulas long before it was cool to use herbs, in the US again, or in the supplement form. So Echinacea, you're going to find in a lot of these whole food-based vitamin C supplements. Cataplex AC, so as time went on, he found that combining whole food sources of vitamin A with this Cataplex C formula really had a synergistic effect for immune system support. We're going to look at some of those formulas. Cataplex ACP was his crowning achievement, what he believed was the most complete vitamin C formula that he developed that had, this Cataplex C foundation, as well as extra bioflavonoids. That's what the P stands for, the permeability factors from buckwheat, and then the Cataplex A formula. So it's really one of those, you can't go wrong with any of these options. But if you were to ask Royal Lee what the can't go wrong whole food vitamin C most complete for immune system health, he would probably say on a maintenance basis, Cataplex ACP. We're going to talk a lot today about Congaplex. Another can't go wrong for immune system support, because it really is one of our most complete. It's a combination of 4 different standard process products and 4 major nutritional foundations for the immune system. You may be surprised that Drenamin, the famous Drenamin for adrenal gland support, stress modulation, is a complete source of these vitamin C factors. And you know how damaging excess stress and cortisol can be on your immune system. So for some people, and this is where it's just your clinical call, there's some people that Drenamin is going to be the most effective daily immune support product for them, because it not only has this whole food vitamin C base, but it's got extra stress modulating factors. But this is the one that started it all, Congaplex C. And I wanted to show this ingredient list. Again, the genius of Royal Lee, not only did he have these foods like buckwheat and alfalfa, mushroom, you know, these whole food vitamin sources, but the first ingredient is bone, protomorphogen bone extract. And when you think about the immune system, where do all of the white blood cells come from? Your bone marrow. So not only does this have great whole food sources of vitamin C, but again, it's extra foods that support the immune response. And there's no better example than bone extract. When you get concentrated bone extracts like this, you're feeding your immune system at a very foundational level with encouraging healthy white blood cell production. So whichever whole food vitamin C supplement you choose to use, whether it's Congaplex C, Congaplex ACP, Congaplex Drenamin, they're all going to have very similar foundational ingredients. And again, you can't go wrong. So that brings us to, again, one of the most synergistic nutrients to use with vitamin C, and that's vitamin A. Vitamin A, think of vitamin A as one of your foundational nutrients to support your first line defenses of your mucous membranes. Vitamin A is important to feed the mucous membranes, and specifically to encourage secretory IgA, one of the frontline defense antibodies for any type of pathogen or immune challenge you're exposed to. So the more good quality vitamin A you have, the healthier your mucous membranes and that frontline defense. Now, one picture that definitely deserves to be on this group is the original, most famous vitamin A supplement, cod liver oil, that all across the world, this was just a known immune system superfood, cod liver oil. It was not only the original fish oil supplement, but it was the original vitamin A supplement. And people didn't know all the benefits of vitamin A and vitamin D in cod liver oil and fish oil, but they just knew if they took cod liver oil, they had a more robust immune system, more resilient. And now we know some of those specific reasons why, the mucous membrane protection benefits. So we've got a lot of supplements from Standard Process with vitamin A, but the key ones we're going to focus on that you can't go wrong choosing for supporting your immune system on a daily basis: Congaplex AC, Congaplex ACP, cod liver oil, again, the original vitamin A supplement, and here once again, Congaplex. So we're going to see over and over again, most of these nutrients that we want in our body are going to be found in Congaplex. So Congaplex ACP, one of my favorites. Very similar list to Congaplex C, but you're going to see I highlighted at the top of this ingredient list, the key difference is a much stronger emphasis right at the top of vitamin A foods. Every vitamin A supplement Royal Lee developed, he always had 2 overlapping foods: carrot and kidney. And again, another area of the genius of Royal Lee is he always knew how to combine the best vegetable source of that nutrient, carrot, along with the most potent animal or glandular tissues, in this case, kidney. So when you combine these 2 foods with all of those ingredients we saw from Congaplex C, those key ingredients, you've really got a complete daily foundation for mucous membrane, white blood cell support with vitamin C. Again, it's just a can't go wrong source of whole food vitamin A factors and vitamin C and the bioflavonoids from buckwheat. We're going to backtrack to that in a minute, but calcium, again, one of the most underutilized, underappreciated immune system nutrients. So everybody knows about vitamin C for the immune system. Most people know about zinc. More and more people are, realizing vitamin D, but we really don't talk about calcium as much as we should. And again, another area Royally was way ahead. It's talking about calcium for supporting white blood cell health, phagocytosis. And there wasn't that much research being done on it when he was, promoting calcium for immune system support. Today, if you go to PubMed.gov or any research site and you put calcium, phagocytosis, calcium, immune system, you're going to see a mountain of research validating what Royally always said, that this was just as important as vitamin C for your body to go on the defense for phagocytosis and just white blood cell health in general. Now you see a lot of dairy things listed here, and yes, dairy is a great source of calcium, but the problem with today's dairy, because it's all pasteurized, there's a lot of cofactors that we need to use calcium effectively that we may lose or weaken in pasteurized milk. So this is why you see a lot of your patients or clients that do a lot of dairy, they may still need one of these calcium lactate sources because it's just not as bioavailable when it's in a pasteurized form. So pretty simple here. Our main options for calcium immune system support, we've got calcium in a lot of formulas, but the two go-to sources are going to be calcium lactate when you want the most concentrated source of calcium for the immune system. But look again, here's Congaplex. It's just hard to escape Congaplex for immune system support with all of these foundational nutrients. So let's go through why Congaplex is the most popular standard process supplement for immune system support. It's a simple formula. It's just a combination of key ingredients from 4 standard process supplements, but the synergy of these food foundations is what's given its reputation year after year after year as making it the most popular. And the first ingredient really says it all. The most unique thing about Congaplex, it's the only vitamin C, vitamin A, calcium supplement that we've looked at that has thymus cytosol extract, or Thymex, is the individual product. That's the main ingredient of Congaplex that gives it its reputation for strong short-term immune system support. What Royally was after with the thymus cytosol extract was something that would act quickly, that would encourage a fast immune supporting response from your thymus gland, where the thymus gland's running the show. When you're exposed to something that your immune system has to defend you from, a healthy thymus gland is a make or break part that determines how smoothly you can get through that immune system challenge. So it's really that thymus cytosol that's the most unique special ingredient, and especially for short-term immune system challenges, at that first sign that your immune system needs more help, you're never wrong going straight to Congaplex. Ribonucleic acid is another key ingredient. And, ribonucleic acid is really popular for brain health today, but we forget that ribonucleic acid is a really key ingredient and nutrient for supporting white blood cell production. And this is one of the main things Royally said to use ribonucleic acid for, was supporting a healthy white blood cell count in the body. Again, calcium lactate to support phagocytosis and white blood cell activity. And then the complete Cataplex AC ingredient foundation. So something that, I think we need to focus on with Congaplex is, even though it's really popular for short-term, strong immune system support, it's definitely something you could take on a daily basis just to cover your basis with all of these nutritional foundations. So I'll recommend 6 capsules a day on a maintenance basis for my patients, during the winter season. And if they start feeling an immune system challenge that they need more nutritional support for, I'll tell them to increase it, double that dose temporarily to get more of these factors. But don't restrict yourself to thinking that it's just a short-term immune system product. This is something many people could benefit from on a daily basis, and especially kids with the chewable Congaplex formula. Excellent daily support during the winter months. So Congaplex, for those nutrients we've talked about so far, when you want the can't go wrong source of calcium, vitamin C, vitamin A, and to get extra thymus support, you can simplify it with Congaplex. Now, zinc is one of the weaknesses of Congaplex. You know, there's very few things missing from Congaplex, but this is one of them. It doesn't have a strong source of zinc. And this is one of those minerals, when we're talking about supporting the immune system, everybody could benefit from some supplemental zinc, unless they're eating a lot of the foods that you see on this picture. And I love this picture because it showcases one of the superstars of zinc that nobody or hardly anybody eats anymore, and that's a liver. You know, liver was just like cod liver oil was the food everybody used to do for vitamin A. Liver was the food everybody used to do for zinc. And it's just gone from the American diet. But not only do we not eat these great zinc foods like we should, the more sugar and refined carbohydrates we eat, the more zinc we tend to lose. So with those two reasons, that's why almost everybody can benefit from zinc. Now, we have a lot of zinc supplements in the Standard Process product line. You know, we've got the zinc chelate, we've got trace minerals B12, Liviplex is a really great source, but let's simplify it for immune system purposes. When you're talking about the best immune products with a zinc foundation for daily immune support, you can't beat these two, Immunoplex and Immune Complex. You could either pick one or you could do a low dose of both. These are very synergistic products that each have very unique benefits in the body. So let's look at why these two are so popular. Immunoplex, great zinc source, but I had trouble getting all the ingredients and nutrients of Immunoplex onto one slide because there's so many things in here. If you counted up the Standard Process formulas, you know, that are in this product, it would be between, 4 to 6 standalone Standard Process products. The support of the deep level bone marrow, liver health, thymus gland health, and liver function. So besides the protomorphogens, you see just from the nutrient standpoint, zinc, selenium, B12, B6, vitamin E sources. You just go on and on. And incidentally, we're talking about simplifying immune support. If you want the simplest 2 supplements that cover every base nutritionally for immune system support, zinc, calcium, vitamin C, vitamin A, Congaplex and Immunoplex combined are the most complete nutritional foundation. And you could do, 6 per day of both just to cover every nutrient that we know of to support the immune system. So as a zinc supplement, 3 to 6 per day is an excellent way to support your zinc reserves, but much, much deeper than that. Protomorphogen, a little bit of the thymus glandular extract in here. This is our most complete product to feed and nourish the thymus gland because it not only has zinc, the most important mineral for the thymus, but it has the thymus protomorphogen and the thymus cytosol extract. Excellent way to get a lot of nutrients into one formula. Now, Epimmune, very special product. This is a vegetarian-based zinc supplement and some very unique ingredients in here. This would probably count as our most researched Standard Process formula for daily immune system support. And I say that because of the 2 proprietary blends, patented blends in here for daily immune nutrients, and that's Epicor and the Maitake mushroom extract, the Maitake 404 that you can read more about on standardprocess.com. The Epicor extract in here, that fermented yeast extract, again, when we're talking about frontline defenses like vitamin A, Epicor is one of the most powerful things you can do to nourish your mucous membrane frontline defenses like secretory IgA, but it also encourages your second line defenses of natural killer cells. It supports phagocytosis, recent research with that Epicor is showing that it's a really great prebiotic. Now, we know more and more that our gut bacteria, our microbiome, is such a key part of our immunity. And that's the beauty of Epicor, is it nourishes your gut bacteria as a powerful prebiotic. We mentioned mushrooms are becoming more and more well-researched, and this is one of the most researched extracts, these maitake mushroom extracts for, a powerful immune modulation support. What I really love about Immune Complex is for patient compliance, how low dose it is. 2 capsules per day provides really powerful immune modulation support. So it's a can't go wrong zinc supplement, but it's also a can't go wrong frontline defense for your mucous membranes, your microbiome, and just supporting your white blood cell activity in general. Phenomenal product. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is finally getting the respect it deserves for immune modulation. And your white blood cells have vitamin D receptors on them that influence how well they work. Vitamin D is one of those nutrients that, not just encourage your white blood cells in the defense, but have an immune modulating aspect. If there's areas that are hyperactive in your immune system, helping to modulate that response. So we're just scratching the surface of how important this vitamin is for your immune system. But the negative or the bad news is we know how many people are low in vitamin D, especially, in the northern states where they don't get as easy access to good sunshine for vitamin D optimization. And again, we don't eat the foods with vitamin D like we should. We used to do cod liver oil. Not many people do that anymore. Fresh seafood, egg yolks, grass-fed butter. People that are afraid of these fatty, food sources may be missing out on vitamin D. So there's a lot of factors that go in today for why so many people have low blood levels. But if you do blood testing, you can see this. It's a rampant problem with either borderline or just flat out vitamin D deficiency. So it's really one of those nutrients that almost everybody could benefit supplementing with. And we've got some great options. The easiest one, if you want the highest concentration of vitamin D to quickly get somebody's vitamin D reserves up, you can't beat Congaplex D. That's our strongest source. Epoise and Catalin would be our 2 best daily, just general nutrition foundation. Both of those have the Catalin foundation in them. And I'm going to show you why Epoise is one of the most overlooked daily vitamin foundations, especially for immune system support. But if you want the most historically nutritional foundation vitamin D supplement, it doesn't have what we would call a high quantity of vitamin D, but definitely a whole food source balanced with vitamin A and, of course, great omega-3 fish oil. It's cod liver oil. So again, pick one. You can't go wrong. Any of these options that you see here, your patients probably need some vitamin D help. So like Dr. Michael Dobbins said, you cannot be wrong. You can only be more right. So let's look at, again, the strongest, highest concentration vitamin D source, Congaplex D. Usually just 2 tablets per day is more than plenty for creating a great reserve of vitamin D for your patients. And there's really nothing that we would call magic about this formula except the balancing cofactor nutrients. Vitamin D is really well known today. It's more and more research. You have more doctors prescribing high dose vitamin D than ever before. But what they forget is that vitamin A is a really important nutrient to work synergistically with vitamin D and vice versa. Vitamin D is really important synergistically for vitamin A to work. This is why cod liver oil was the perfect vitamin A and vitamin D supplement, is because it had both. And this is what Standard Process has always recognized, is it's not just about supplementing with vitamin D, you have to have it balanced with vitamin A. And that's what not a lot of supplements really recognize, and that's what you get with Congaplex D, the balance of these 2 nutrients. Now, again, this is one of my favorite. Once you have If somebody has a big vitamin D deficiency and you want to get the highest concentration, that's Congaplex D. For maintenance support, if you want a great daily vitamin foundation to fill in the gaps in the American diet, Catalin is the most well-known, but ePoise has a couple extra factors that Catalin doesn't have. One is the vitamin D oils are going to be a little more concentrated because it's a capsule. You're going to be able to get more of that food in there. The other is that ePoise is going to have buckwheat, that really helps with completing that vitamin C factor with the root and bioflavonoids. You're also going to find a little bit of bone extract in ePoise. So whether it's Catalin as your daily foundation to fill in the gaps or ePoise, you really can't go wrong. But ePoise is my preferred because it's a little more concentrated and it's got that very important immune system bioflavonoid root and source of buckwheat in it. And you can see it's very low dose, 2 capsules. That's a serving size. Now that kind of covers all the bases with nutritional foundations. We've seen simple ways to get your calcium, your vitamin C, your vitamin A, your zinc, and your vitamin D. And we'll recap all those at the end. But let's talk about the most important, when you want to simplify the MediHerb immune system support, you probably know that Echinacea is their pride and joy. It's Kerry Bone's favorite herb. He gives it to every single one of his patients that he sees. And that's because he believes it's the most foundational immune maintenance, immune nourishing product that you can take on a daily basis. The old thinking about Echinacea was that it worked like an antibiotic. You couldn't take it long term. And what Kerry Bone has really done an excellent job of is turning that completely upside down and showing us that Echinacea is best taken on a long-term maintenance basis to nourish your immune system. And the reason being, because of the recent research, we know it's one of the most powerful herbs, powerful supplements, period, to nourish and regulate your endocannabinoid system. So you've got all of these endocannabinoid receptors throughout your whole immune system, your spleen, your thymus, your bone marrow, all those organs we talked about from Congaplex. Well, Echinacea, this is one of the reasons Echinacea is so synergistic to use with something like Congaplex. Congaplex contains the protomorphogen and cytosol nourishment for all of these immune organs, but Echinacea, those alkylamides, are the most powerful ways to influence the endocannabinoid receptors on these immune system organs. So it's pretty relatively new research, but it's amazing how well it influences the immune response, and specifically when you're under stress. Think of Echinacea as one of your top tools to minimize the harmful suppressing effects on your immune system of being under a lot of stress. And we're under more stress than ever before today. So Echinacea is a great stress adaptogen for your immune system. And quality and quantity of Echinacea extracts have a lot to do with how good of results you get. And every 10 years or so, MediHerb will send their Echinacea samples, their batches, off to an independent research facility that measures alkylamide content. That's the make or break compound in Echinacea that determines its effectiveness. And they didn't name the specific names, but these are all popular Echinacea supplements they can compare their products to. And you can see on the right 2 columns, there is a big, big difference of alkylamide content. And you see MediHerb's Echinacea Premium up at the top, 4.1 milligrams of alkylamide listed, on the bottle, but it was actually more alkylamides when it was all said and done and measured. But then below that, you see all these other companies have much less alkylamides in their products, and it goes down and down and down and down. So the very far right column shows how many capsules you would need to consume of that other brand to equal 1 Echinacea Premium. And this just tells the whole story. You may have somebody come in and tell you, I tried Echinacea and it didn't work for me. And you need to show them something like this graph here, that they may not have taken a concentrated alkylamide containing Echinacea. And if that's the case, they're not going to get great results. Look at this very bottom graph. This last brand that they compared Echinacea Premium to, you had to take 341 capsules to get the levels of alkylamide of one Echinacea Premium. Pretty impressive. So there's lots of ways to get that high quality alkylamide extract from MediHerb products. But when in doubt, you're never wrong with Echinacea Premium. It's a very low dose product. 2 tablets per day provides very strong levels of these alkylamides. But you also know how important Angiographis's complex is. That has a lot of the Echinacea angustifolia, but it's for stronger short-term immune system support. And you know how well Angiographis's complex combines with Congaplex. Congaplex is our best blend of nutrients for strong short-term immune system support. Angiographis's complex is our best blend of herbal extracts for strong short-term immune support when you just know you need that extra help. But again, you can take Angiographis on a daily basis. If you want to take it for a maintenance, immune benefit, 2 tablets twice per day is something that you can do, especially if you've been under more stress and you want to get Echinacea, but stronger herbs to combine with it for complete immune and respiratory support. You may have forgotten that Adrenal Tonic has the complete Echinacea Premium blend in it. So it's not only stress support, it's immune support. And that really says it perfectly with so many of our immune system products. It's not that we have immune products and stress products, they overlap so many times. Our vitamin C products are a great example. Every one of those vitamin C supplements we looked at are both immune support and stress support. Epicor, or the Epimune complex, minimizes the effects of stress on the immune system. Echinacea is both stress management and immune support, and that's why it's an Adrenal Tonic. Astragalus complex has Echinacea, and this is great when you need more vitality support as well with the famous Chinese herb Astragalus. And then the Echinacea seed from Standard Process, that's a beautiful blend of buckwheat for bioflavonoids and Echinacea. So pick one, you can't go wrong. So simplifying immune support, it's one of those things we can always improve on. We can always get better and better at it. But I love this picture from the Standard Process website because to me, this really is the perfect simplification approach for daily immune system support to cover the most important nutritional and herbal foundations to arm your immune system, every aspect of your immune system, whether it's your mucous membranes, your white blood cell, to actually feed the immune organs of your body, the bone marrow, the liver, the spleen, the thymus gland. This is the combination that does it all. Again, with Congaplex, that's your most simplified way to get calcium, vitamin C, vitamin A, Echinacea Premium, our best daily immune herbal modulation support. Epimune and Immunoplex, you could choose either one of those as zinc support, but the combination together is so powerful for daily immune health. Again, the Epimune complex for your vegetarian patients that don't want any animal extracts, this is the way to get zinc plus strong frontline mucous membrane defense. And this is our most powerful daily mushroom supplement from the Standard Process product line with the Maitake mushroom. Immuplex is going to be our most complete protomorphogen support for the immune system. So I personally take all of these on a daily basis. Do I necessarily need all of these on a daily basis every single day? Maybe, maybe not. But again, when you want to cover every single nutritional and herbal foundation, this is the most simplified way to do it. So hope you guys got a lot of great information to take back to your practice. Even though it looks like we have a lot of products to choose from, remember they have common overlapping foods. And the better you know what these foods are in the formulas, the more simplified you can make your immune system support for your patients. See you on the next webinar.
Okay, that was a great presentation. Lots of information, I know. I'm sure there's a few questions coming through. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, thanks for having us. Yes,
Yeah.
there's some great questions.
Yeah, do you, I can read them out if you want. We can start kind of at the beginning.
Sure. I think I answered some directly, so maybe the ones that we didn't answer,
Yeah.
but great.
Yeah, so you might have heard from Sarah already. There's some still that we'll address. If you have more, feel free to add them in. We have some time, so if we can get to them, that's great. I know one of the main questions actually was, is Standard Process available in Fullscript? Which it is, and you know, if you have more questions after, we have a great customer service support system to answer any questions about it. I know Standard Process does as well. You can always email webinars@fullscript.com. I can help connect people as well. So any questions about that side of it, we can definitely help you out. But the first question that came through is actually super interesting. So when a supplement contains a wheat product such as wheat germ, is it safe for a celiac or for someone with a non-celiac gluten sensitivity?
You know, so specifically like our wheat germ formula, that's just wheat germ, we would test it for gluten, and it is gluten-free within the regulations that are set up by the FDA at 200 parts per million. If the formula, so some of the formulas that Dave talked about today would not be gluten-free, not specifically because of the wheat germ, but because of other reasons. So, you know, if wheat germ by itself, if for celiac patients, I would proceed with caution with them because you don't always know. For, you know, somebody who's less sensitive and you feel comfortable and you know that 200 parts per million, if it's labeled as gluten-free, then I would feel safe moving forward with them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kind of along the same lines, but this next question is about soy. So some products contain soy. If a client brings this to your attention, how do you decipher that soy is beneficial and not a bad ingredient when a lot of the times we hear in nutrition that people tend to stay away from soy?
Yeah, so it was interesting. I went and pulled how many soy formulas we had when that question came up, which I saw there was about 8 that have soy in them still. And soy is one of those products that we have removed from a lot of formulas. Soy as itself is a great source of protein, right? But the concerns would be the estrogen factors and its effects, especially on women and consuming way too much of it. But so I think it kind of depends per patient. It's hard to say yay or nay on it because, you know, it has its benefits as a whole. And I think back, actually, I was involved in a soy study back in college when I was studying dietetics, not nutrition. So, no, you're good. I'm just teasing. So that, you know, I think soy gets a rap, good or bad, every other day. And so in general, though, we've tried to stay away from it. And so we try to reduce that discussion for you. I think there's 9 products, as I said, that have soy, though.
Yeah, interesting. It feels like every day there's a new, you know, a new review on soy or a new thing that's come out where it's good or it's bad, stay away. I have heard obviously for women that you know, just you should maybe avoid it at times. But again, this question I thought was very interesting and I was interested to hear. So that's.
I think that person also maybe asked about the sourcing of soy, so I could talk about. Yeah. So we do use organic soy in our formulas and non-GMO. So remember though, like just to qualify, like if it's organic, it's automatically non-GMO. So anytime if you see an organic source, it means that it's non-GMO. That is the promise, especially if it's US labeled organic. The promise and the legal aspect is that it has to be non-GMO. So at our Standard Process farm, we actually don't, we have grown soy, but we don't currently. That in all of our products that are organic are non-GMO. We only source non-GMO seeds. We use non-GMO well, we don't use any pesticides or fertilizers that are not a natural source. So like for a pesticide, we would use molasses as an example on our Brussels sprouts to keep away some of the bugs because they don't want to get stuck to it.
Interesting.
So those are the kind of things that we kind of, look at.
Yeah, wow, that's so interesting, and I love it. I would never have thought that that's used in, in the process.
Right, exactly.
Kind of back up to the top there, there's a very specific question about patients who have cancer. Is it stimulating the immune system or modulating? I guess it's maybe.
I think the question was maybe at the time when we were talking about Immunoplex and Congaplex. And so Congaplex is going to stimulate the immune system. And so that's why usually a lot of times when somebody maybe has something coming on, a lot of our practitioners who have been with us often talk about taking quite a bit of Congaplex to help with that. Immunoplex is going to modulate the immune system, and the same also with Epiimmune complex. The Epiimmune complex too, I think somebody asked for something that doesn't have buckwheat in it, and that's a great option because Epiimmune is really a postbiotic or a fermentate called Epicor in combination with maitake gold mushrooms and reishi mushrooms and some other key ingredients. Zinc is also, and vitamin C. And so that has a lot of really interesting data to support both the GI health, which is going to improve our immune system. So as a postbiotic, it's going to help with short chain fatty acid productions and things like butyrate, which is, that opportunity the short chain fatty acids metabolites are. And that helps to make sure that our gut is has tight junctions. You can see my fingers, my tight junctions. And so that's really important for our immune support as a whole. And then Epicor has also had, the fermentate has done studies too on reducing cold and flu symptoms too. And so that's pretty exciting. That's what I've taken every day for the last 2 years now, I think, almost, right? Maybe not quite every day.
Almost though, yeah.
But yes, and maybe at a higher dose than that's on the bottle.
I think this actually question kind of follows along those lines, but asking about the supplements we talked about today or anything more specific for patients with an autoimmune disease.
Yeah, I mean, I think Carrie Bone and Dave mentioned it too, like Echinacea has had some good data. I did a podcast with Carrie Bone not long ago where we talked about turmeric and its benefits. We have a kind of large CE that's coming up too around the fact about autoimmune that is really interesting. And so you can reach out and we can help you with that if you're interested in that CE program. And I think as a whole, autoimmune has a lot of different options. And so you could use those modulating factors that we talked about. And one of the other products that I think is really interesting is like our GI stability, which is about supporting our gut health. And so really supporting that GI health for those autoimmune patients is really key factor too.
Great. I think, there's one that just came in, a couple comments about, being careful with buckwheat. Apparently, it can be harmful for maybe some blood types as well. So I think you mentioned not everyone likes to use buckwheat. Also, the next question that came in is for chronic stress that dysregulated the HPA axis, which of these products could help improve this?
Dave talked about adrenal tonic, which has ashwagandha and licorice and other some of those adaptogen herbs, which is amazing. Ashwagandha, I think personally, so either in our ashwagandha forte or ashwagandha complex, really has that opportunity. Ashwagandha is such an interesting, exciting herb because it can, act, the word ashwagandha actually means, I think, the power of 1,000 horses. And so, but you think, okay, well, that doesn't sound very calming, right? But it has the ability to be stimulating and calming both. And so because it's an adaptogen, it's going to have that opportunity to kind of really work with you as what you need. Other kind of really awesome calming opportunities, you know, especially if somebody is wired and tired type of individual. I personally like kava because it can act both as a sleep aid, but then a calmative agent, and has fairly fast acting, and you can use that like PRN. Ashwagandha is more like a long-term overall effect, but there's many different options.
Yeah, that's great. That's interesting. I know I've heard everything about ashwagandha. People are just like, people rave about it. Practitioners rave about it. It feels like a miracle, almost like an exciting, you know, herb supplement that kind of can do what it needs for you, which is
Right.
super, yeah. If there's any other questions, I think we have a little bit of time, but I think you know, you got to answer some on the back end, I know, during the presentation, Sarah, and now we've kind of hit all the ones that are in the dashboard control panel there. So thank you so much for being here. I think, you know, David's presentation was amazing, and having you be able to answer in-depth questions at the end is super valuable for everyone. I know if there's more questions, as I said, you can reach out through the Fullscript website support system, through Standard Process. I know that I did mention that Standard Process is available on Fullscript. However, I do believe it's the US only. So hopefully, I could be wrong, Sarah, you might even know more about that, but I think I look quick, and it does look like it's just tons of products and protocols and everything on our website, but it is just available in the US for Canadian practitioners, I'm sorry. But thank you again for, yes, super insightful presentation, and we're always excited to have Standard Process and MediHerb and you join us. So Sarah, hopefully we can see you again for the next one.
Yes, definitely.
And if there's any other resources that we can provide, I know that the slides were available in this in the handout section, but we can also share them in the follow-up so people are able to keep them and have them as a resource as well.
Great.
Okay, well,
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next time, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Great. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone.